Hello, colleagues. Welcome to our webinar series in Conversation With. I am Virginia Fernandez-Trapa, Program Coordinator in the Sustainable Development of Tourism Department of the World Tourism Organization, and I will be facilitating the discussion today. I'd like to start by thanking my colleague Roxana Ashtari for support preparing this session. Today, we have the chance to engage with representatives from Necstour, the network of European regions for sustainable and competitive tourism, which is one of the launch partners of the Glasgow Declaration for Climate Action in Tourism. Our guests are Cristina Núñez, Managing Director, and also Justine Bouters, Sustainability and Projects Officer. Thanks a lot for joining us, Cristina, and being open to share your experience. Let's get started, if you agree. So
thank you very much, Virginia. Yes, good morning to you, and thank you to Roxana for making possible that we have the chance to speak with you today. Very pleased. Thank you.
It's our pleasure, Cristina. So Necstour has been in a very interesting journey towards sustainable tourism for a number of years now, and we're curious to know what was the trigger for you to start a work stream on climate action, and especially now that you already have a climate action plan, what led you to prepare this climate action plan?
Yes, thank you. That's an interesting question for us to think about where we were before, where we are today, but especially where we want to go together. For us, it was really signing the Glasgow Declaration who made us think about, okay, how we can define better what our objectives are, plan them and put them into action. Even if I should start saying that our climate action plan, it was just a starting point for us, but it came from the declaration of the climate emergency. As you said, Virginia, we have been working in tourism sustainability and competitiveness with our members. Our members are regional tourism authorities competent for tourism management, but also promotion. And in Europe, it does matter for us the scope, putting the scope of action at regional level, so at subnational level, because there is where the competence is in most of the countries, but also where the energy is, working closely with the SMEs, with the industry. And what we found out is that very humbly, we were not going far enough when it comes to sustainability from the environmental perspective. And that's why we joined the movement Tourism Declares a Climate Emergency. So we had to declare for then putting in action what we have declared, the commitment. And that's why we have partnered with the Travel Foundation. Those are the ones who supported us much during the process of drafting our climate action plan, which we are implementing jointly. And we knew that our aim at the time was to align the Glasgow agenda, but also with the European agenda. And this is why we want to make sure that tourism takes active part into the journey of these European goals of halving carbon emissions by 2030 and being carbon neutral by 2050. We believe that tourism has to be the solution and not the problem, or at least part of the solution. And all these are, I might say, top-level policies, which at the end of the day, we need to be mainstream into the territory. So this is the scope of our climate action plan, I would say.
Very, very interesting. Thank you so much for reminding us of the importance of the subnational level, especially in topics which are perhaps not the traditional competence of national tourism authorities or subnational tourism authorities, to create necessary synergies to advance at destination level. But I mean, you have a lot of experience. It still is a pioneering field to a large extent. So I'm sure you found challenges when developing the climate action plan. Which were those? Could you tell us? And also opportunities, of course, if you could reflect a bit further on these two.
Yes, I think that there's a common challenge for all of us, basically, which is that setting, defining an objective and quantifying the scope of your action and getting the right KPIs was for us the very first challenge, I would say. Also because we are a supporting organization in the Glasgow community, which means that our impact as such, being a non-for-profit organization, a network based in Brussels, it is minimum. On the other hand, what we thought is that there was this huge opportunity to trigger action and to develop what our members call the group effect. One destination on its own can go as far as it can, but the beauty is how we can benefit from economies of scale, really, from collaborative knowledge in a way that we can develop real living labs along the journey, helping us to solve every barrier we are finding. And basically, it was about getting it started, if I can say as openly. We didn't have so many examples at the time, I must say, and the challenge was also that all this process was running in parallel of some front runners of members of us also developing their own climate action. So we were trying to inspire each other, but in the end, it came as an opportunity also. Main challenge for everybody we talk about is the measurement. We do not know how to measure where to put the boundaries, until when I am responsible for the carbon emissions and when is somebody else's responsibility, and which are the right indicators, but especially how we can benchmark those indicators, and also how we interpret the figures in a way that we can trigger action at political level, at regulatory level, at industry level. So these are all still challenges, I must say. But what we are learning also is that we should not get stopped because of the lack of measurement tools. There is a lot of experience, there are a lot of initiatives going on, and carbon calculator tools are already there. So it's a matter of start getting use of them, but also taking action with those results of the measurement. So in the end, it's more opportunities than it's a huge opportunity among all those challenges. But again, the group effect can help us to trigger further in this journey.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, couldn't I agree more on your point regarding measurement? What we need is action. And of course, measurement is a very relevant piece to take targeted action and maximize the impact of our efforts, but we shouldn't be stopped because of the challenges related to this more technical exercise, right? Which is measuring greenhouse gas emissions. We also looked at the tools available out there for tools and methodologies for measuring greenhouse gas emissions. We released a report last March. And it's true that for destinations, there is not many tools, right? You can benefit maybe from tools that are addressing hospitality or tools that are supporting tour operators to measure. But at the end of the day, as a destination, how do you define your boundaries? You know, is really complex. In this regard, I wanted to ask you a third question, because of course you work on a European environment. So already let's say the north is set by the European Commission, where more or less everyone needs to be driving towards to in terms of climate action. But there are regional and local specificities that are different from one member to the next within Necstour. How did you manage to align your members when developing the plan? Were they all agreeing on what you propose to develop for measurement? Can you share with us a bit more on this, let's say, collective exercise that you did?
Thank you. Yeah, it's an interesting approach. I'm not sure we can proudly say that we have solved everything and that everybody is aligned. What we can say is that there was a strong commitment from unanimously. We have been working in this process. It took us 1 year, I must say, through several workshops, through several awareness raising campaigns and sessions where we could share some very, very first examples on what and how a climate action plan in tourism should look like. Either it was a section of a broader strategy, a broader sustainability tourism strategy, or if it was a different piece of work which was more related to the regional climate agenda, for example, or we were also analyzing some examples on circular economy applying to tourism. So there's no one solution that fits everybody, and every region has its own landscape, its own legislation, its own challenges. So the way we managed to get a consensus was on the fact that we should build a common, let's say, knowledge hub in a way that we could all bring our examples, our challenges, and then get some benchmark exercise about our strategies, which were at the time still being co-created. Let's don't forget that we come from a moment where there is a new tourism legislation, or the current legislation is being adapted because, as you well said, in Europe, we are operating under the umbrella of the Fit for 55 package, which is the regulatory package that will allow the industry and the territory and the citizens to basically engage into this compulsory reduction of greenhouse emissions in the years to come. We have 1 decade to reduce to the half, and this is going to be whether you are operating in Europe, you will need to compile with this legislation. So for us, what was important, I get back to the consensus, is that symbolically we launched our climate action plan the same day where the European Commission was adopting these legislative proposals. That was our message, the beginning of our advocacy efforts in Europe to defend that tourism must be part in this positive change. And for us, our plan is the way to align the Glasgow, the European, and the regional agenda. So it's really supporting our members in delivering climate action by developing their own plans, but also promoting those examples that we can benchmark, raising awareness of the relevance of the European tourism agenda, which is called the Tourism Transition Pathway, and provide guidance to support this implementation. And it's about funding also. It's about raising the right investments, public and private investments, which are so necessary.
Absolutely. Thank you. We need to be seen to be able to mobilize funding, right? I guess the same happens at global scale. Is maybe a bit too high level, but we recently got to know that we have managed to position tourism in the global stocktake exercise for initiatives contributing to the Paris Agreement. So all pushing in the same direction from our different levels. Tourism really needs to be seen as the solution for stakeholders to have the necessary support to advance. Christina, some of your members are also signatories of the Glasgow Declaration, and they have also submitted their own climate action plans. You were mentioning the Knowledge Hub, where you are planning to share knowledge and exchange of experience among members, and the awareness raising events, etc. Your role was facilitator, or what else? I mean, how are you supporting your members that are developing their own plans?
Well, I would like to say that it's our own members who are triggering other members to sign Glasgow. Well, here I think it's fair to say that we were following the leadership of Visit Scotland, which was very rapidly joined by other frontrunner destinations. I'm thinking about Flanders, but also about the Canary Islands, who are very, championing climate action in tourism because of, as you can imagine, the insularity component. I mean, they are the very first ones who are suffering from the impacts of climate change, and tourism is an important driver for prosperity and for people, businesses, and therefore it is our members convincing other members. So it's not us from the secretariat. It's the whole network which is targeting increasing the number of signatories of Glasgow Declaration. That's why for us what is important is that when they are ready to sign, we are all collectively ready to help them in going further. That's why for us, what was important was to develop our own program, which we called Empowering Destination Leaders to Deliver Sustainability, which is I mean, is it all about partnering with experts? We don't have all the expertise in-house. I wish we could say that, but I think it's fair to say that it's by bringing external expertise and combining it with the examples, that the cases of use that our members are deploying, where we can have these very open discussions about how we put together the policy with the promotion, with how we can develop a different way of promoting our destinations, a more honest marketing, how we can develop climate-friendly experiences, engaging with our visitors, but also with our residents, making them part of the journey. And most important, as DMOs, as destination management and marketing organizations, how we can really team up with the industry. What incentives can we offer them into this public and private collaboration journey? So we start learning from cases, again, visit Scotland, but also Emilia-Romagna, South Limburg in the Netherlands, Ljubljana, Catalonia, Flanders. I mean, it's everywhere in Europe. We see that the commitment is growing, the action is growing, and what we have developed already for a year that we have been operating is the Tourism of Tomorrow Lab, which is our own department dealing with measurement. We do not have all the solutions to measure the carbon emissions of the destination, but what we are developing close to our partners is a set of common indicators which can allow us to measure the tourism impacts in a destination level. So where climate and environmental sustainability is embedded into a broader regional plan. And this is why we believe that one of the challenges that we're trying to solve is that envisioning tourism as a living ecosystem, something that is growing, and that at some point it needs to grow as well in a sustainable way. So for us, it's a range of we can call capacity building sessions where we can, again, keep learning from each other. And now we are in an important moment as a network as well, and as a destinations, because we are developing the Necstour 2030 pathway. So our own strategy, aligning with the latest report from the Travel Foundation, Envisioning Tourism on 2030, where there are very clear commitments and challenges for DMOs. So we need to make sure that we are ready to follow those, what the scientific evidence tell us, to put it into action. And we know that this is not easy on the ground. We have the market inertia, we have politics, we all know how it works. And what we need to make sure is that those plans remain there whatever it happens in the next elections. And that is very challenging, but we're working on it.
Absolutely. So Tourism for Tomorrow Lab is one of the key elements of the strategy, the Knowledge Hub as well. Any other key pillars in the climate action plan, sorry, not strategy, that you wish to refer to?
Yes, perhaps it's interesting to say that the main pillar is about the regeneration of the tourism governance. Basically is designing a new model where tourism becomes a driver of prosperity, so a mean and not an end itself, which is of course easier to say than to implement. But the whole challenge is how you co-create this model. How do you define how success looks like with your partners on the ground, with your destination, and how you can make your roadmap together. We were discussing the other day with one of our regions, Nouvelle-Aquitaine, who were very bravely saying, presenting us their roadmap, tourism roadmap 2030. So they were aligning the regional government with the DMO, but also with all the different agencies into the regional government, starting by innovation and by climate action, around the same challenge, how we can make sure that the tourism model in Nouvelle-Aquitaine brings a prosperity to the residents and to the business equally, and offers a quality experience to the visitors. And then we start engaging into, very openly into discussions like, okay, who should be the markets that you're going to target? How can you offer revenue-wise equal? We said prosperity. It has to be business making. Compensating the carbon emissions that you're going to produce. What is going to be the legacy? And they were very openly discussing about their strategy, about proximity markets and which long-haul markets and for what reason. And I think it's very courageous to start having this discussion in the table among members, because this is in the end what is gonna make things change in a positive way. So it's regenerative tourism governance, and I think a change of mindset that it has to bring a positive change in the end. It's not only preserving, it's going one step further. It's making the place better than when you arrive. And I think that if we could achieve this by putting it into action, that it becomes the new normal, that is gonna have a positive impact. That's gonna be much faster than having the perfect measurement tool for your destination.
Absolutely. Perfect is the enemy of good, as we know. So I really commend you for, taking the lead in offering this platform for your members to exchange, because it's not an easy topic, and sometimes there's still a lot of fear to discuss, to make changes, to make mistakes. And we should just, be taking action and supporting each other to advance as you are promoting. I'm really sure we will be we're really looking forward to learning about your indicators and all the tools you are developing. I'm sure they will be very useful also for other signatories, even outside Europe. Christina, before we let our audience speak, can I ask you one last question? What would be your advice for those who are just beginning their journey to develop a climate action plan?
Well, my advice, it's a good question. I think that it's about understanding that that climate action in tourism is more an opportunity than a challenge. It's an opportunity for regions, for destinations to show leadership, to highlight what you are doing, but also don't being afraid of any mistakes, as you said, Virginia, that you might have done. I think that it's understanding that we're into a journey, into a living journey, and that the solutions are going to be good for everybody. So perhaps a bit more concrete is about breaking the silos. So first thing I would say, if you are a destination, talk to your regional government, to your provincial government. Make sure, defend that tourism can be part, and how much can be part of the active solution to deliver your own regional climate law. There's going to be a law. So it's about, we're talking about a compulsory obligation. So make sure you are part of the journey and that you bring the solution. It's everybody has to win if tourism is part of it. That would be my main message. Equally important, raise the appropriate investment. Public and private investments are indispensable for the reasons we said before. You can't deploy the right pilot models. You need to deploy the right infrastructure. I mean, there is infrastructure and there is technology which is needed, and there is a whole change of settings. So this cannot be done alone. So that you need to be, it needs to be in the plan, and it needs to be in the budget. And then, of course, getting to the journey with the industry. You can't develop your own plan and then pretend everybody's going to deliver it. You need to deliver together. So it's about a process of listening to the industry needs and make sure that we can offer the right incentives. And perhaps a final message that, once you join the Glasgow community, I think it's also the positive thing about it is that you are not alone. It's the group effect we were saying before. So my advice would be join that platform or that network where you will find the peers which are going to help you, with whom you can benchmark and which can help you in taking further your action, solving the potential challenge you experience in this journey to carbon net zero in tourism. You cannot do it alone. So I think that collaboration is essential.
Thank you so much, Christina. Okay, dear audience, now is your turn. Do you have any questions for our guest? Please raise your hand and we will give you the floor if that is the case. Okay, I see one hand from Blerina Ago. Active Albania. Blerina, floor is yours. Please use one sentence to introduce yourself so that we know who you are. Just open your mic.
Thank you, Christina, for the great presentation. Sorry that I'm here with my baby because she's feeling a bit sick today. But it is very important for us to follow these short sessions to get the right directions. I am the founder of Active Albania, that is a local tourism company that aims to develop sustainable tourism in the region. And we are recently signed the Glasgow Declaration, and of course we are going to be in the process to achieve everything that we promised as a company. And I heard attentionally what you were saying, and we are also an active part of public discussions about tourism, so roundtables with government and DMOs and a tourism association. And I was thinking, since in our regions everything runs very quick, and I think that very soon also we will be, let's say, all the changes of the legislation that you mentioned will also touch our part of the world. And I was wondering, maybe Active Albania could be like a model, like from the scratch, to show that there are solutions forward the zero carbon in the future. Do you have in the Western Balkans any other company or network that already maybe have achieved something in this road, so that we can be in touch with and exchange and maybe explore together what would be the best choices in this process? Thank you.
Thank you, Vlerina, and sorry to hear your baby is not feeling well, but this happens to many of us, right? So I think that this is all fine. Thanks for your question. Unfortunately, we are not present as much as we wanted in this part of Europe, but we have partners that are. There are other important networks of regions like CPMR, like City Destinations Alliance, who are also covering, perhaps who are more present, who have destinations into this part of where you operate. But I think it's also good to connect with other partners of us, like European Tourism Organization, so ETOA, or ECTA, the European Travel Agents and tour operators. I think that there are in the Glasgow community also some examples that may help you to go more concretely into action. What we could do is to share some of the examples, some sections of some climate action plans of our own destinations who might inspire you on the way they work with the sector. It doesn't matter where they operate, because in the end, it is about quantifying what you're doing. So happy to point out to those examples and to those partners again.
Thank you very much.
And good luck.
Thank you, Cristina and Vlerina. We can also connect you with other signatories in your region if that's helpful. And hopefully quite soon we will be able to release the first report from the Glasgow Declaration implementation, which is basically a review of the climate action plans received so far. And hopefully that will be guiding for many of you, including Active Albania. So thank you for being there, and all the best for your baby. I wish a speedy recovery. Okay, anybody else would like to have the floor for a question to Cristina? Please raise your hand. Let's check the chat, see if we have something there. I don't think we have. Oh, I see another hand. Petra Cad. Same for you, Petra. Please use one sentence to introduce yourself, if you may, and then the question.
Yeah. Yes. Hello. My name is Petra Chat. I'm coming from the Factory of Sustainable Tourism, Good Place, from Slovenia. We are actively working on the sustainable tourism principles, like standards for destinations, and we are closely working to Slovenian Tourism Organization with developing of the green scheme of Slovenian tourism. And I would have a question for Cristina. How do you see a role of standards for destinations, for example, GSTC standards or green destinations that we are using in the green scheme in this area of climate change, how they can contribute, how useful they are for this topic? Thank you.
Thank you, Petra, for the questions. We indeed cooperate with Slovenia Tourism Board, but also with the Ljubljana entity, and I think you have been taking a leading role, inspiring many other destinations of us. So I would say that many regions of us have been following the Slovenian example. So I might dare saying that the way you have a structure, you have combined the greening standards, but also with digitalization techniques into a common tourism development plan. It has been very inspiring for all of us. I believe it's a tricky question, positioning about certification. My comment would be that it helps you to put the plan into action in a cyclic way. Often what we see is projects that start but then don't continue. And I think that more incentives, public incentives should be deployed in a way that those certification can be or first achieved, but also maintain. But for me, the main challenge is how you convince your visitors that those certified establishments are the right ones where you should book as a matter of preference. And we have been working with some of our destinations precisely in monitoring whether those certified accommodation establishments, for example, just to give you a very concrete case, how well they were performing to the ranking of bookings, and how the DMO then can take this information in a way to reinforce, the promotion effort and the incentive to those certified places. So I think that certification is always scary for the businesses, because we know it's time consuming, we know it's paperwork, we know it means investments, we know it's long processes. But in a way, I think there are very good examples of destinations that are going for those standards and that are performing well. And I'm thinking on Azores or Madeira Islands. It usually working quite well in this part of Europe. So I think it's more a question for open debate what other things. But from our perspective, I think that it helps to align your commitment into action and secure offering the guarantee of quality. That's also very important.
Very good answer, Christina. Also, the criteria inside the certifications are different in certain ways as to how they refer to climate action. Hopefully, in the near future, there will be more alignment in this regard. It's a process, but in the meantime, please just use them as a tool that can support the efforts when climate action is part of the criteria. I don't see any other hands right now, and we have exceeded a bit the time plan. So I think we're gonna wrap up our chat with Cristina Núñez from Necstour here. I mean, it's been extremely interesting as usual, Cristina, discussing with you, and the breadth of knowledge that you have is really inspiring. And Necstour efforts in climate action are really a model or a great example to follow. I really hope that the practical content you have shared will be of use for our colleagues connected here today, and also for other Glasgow signatories. I really encourage you to apply what you can in your own organization, and remember that every change and every action counts. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just take action and join us in this journey on climate action. Thanks again. We look forward to seeing you in our next episode of In Conversation With. Have a nice day.